Welcome back to the 13th Global Mobile Broadband Forum. Yesterday, we talked about how 5G leads the stride and how 5G enables the business exploration and accelerates industry coverage. Today, we'll discuss how 5G helps deliver an ultimate experience, driving the industry as it evolves to 5.5G. Next, let's invite Mr. David Wang, Huawei's Executive Director of the Board, Chairman of the ICT Infrastructure Managing Board, to talk about the stride to 5.5G.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Global Mobile Broadband Forum 2022. I'm so glad to meet you all again at this event. Looking back through the history, communications technology have always developed at an astounding rate. It took over 30 years for home phone services to go mainstream. But it took only 10 years for the mobile communications to become the normal. And now, a fully connected, intelligent world is fast approaching. In this world, everything will be possible. And the rapid change we are about to experience will all be accompanied by increasing requirement for digital infrastructure. For individuals, immersive services like XR and holographic communication are continuing to be material. And we will need ubiquitous 10 gigabit per second services to bridge both time and space. In industry, digital technology will continue to reshape protection, with intelligence becoming central to almost every industry. This will need the support of over 1 gigabit per second uplink rates, lower latency, and higher reliability. Finally, everything around us will become intelligently connected, including wearables, intelligent vehicles, and robots. These hundreds of billions of connections must be supported by differentiated infrastructure capability. So today, 5G has delivered Gbps experiences and supports tens of billions of connections. It has already become a pillar of the global digital economy. The next milestone we must hit on the path to the intelligent world is 5.5G. 5.5G will deliver 10 gigabit per second experiences, support hundreds of billions of connections, and help us achieve native intelligence. Since 2020, we worked with our industry partners to define a vision for 5.5G. After 2 years of hard work, we have achieved a lot, and 3 things have become clear. So first, the standardization of 5.5G is right on track. Last April, 5.5G was officially named 5G Advanced by 3GPP, kicking off the standardization work for this concept. 3GPP's release 18, 19, and 20 will all deal with 5.5G. The first batch of study items has been launched for release 18, with EMBB still being an important focus of this research. The upcoming release 19 and 20 will further explore new 5.5G services and scenarios. This progress shows the consensus that already exists on 5.5G. The second thing that's become clear is that breakthroughs are already being made in key technologies for 5.5G. Large bandwidth and massive MIMO are crucial for realizing 1 gigabit per second experiences over 5G networks. And now, the industry has already moved on with new breakthroughs in the ultra-large bandwidth and extreme large antenna arrays, indicating 5.5G will deliver 10 times higher performance. Huawei has already worked with multiple carriers to explore the new possibility represented by these two breakthroughs. On the millimeter wave band, 800 MHz ultra-large bandwidth and 2,000 antenna arrays provide 10 gigabit per second peak experiences. On the 60 Hz band, 400 MHz bandwidth with over 1,000 antenna arrays can even compete with the C-band in terms of the coverage distance while delivering 10 gigabit per second experiences. These technological breakthroughs will help 5.5G deliver 10 gigabit per second experiences. Third, we can now clearly see the industrial IoT landscape, and we believe that 5.5G will be ready to support all IoT connections with MB-IoT, RedCap, and passive IoT. MB-IoT supports lower power wide area connections. Its MB-IoT has become a leading RPWA technology, with the new MB-IoT connections accounting for 47% of global RPWA connections last year. That's an over 60% year-on-year increase. MB-IoT is expected to continue growing steadily and eventually support tens of billions of RPWA connections. RedCap supports medium and high-speed IoT connections. IMT 2020 has already completed the verification of the key RedCap technologies for base station and chips, making them ready for commercial use. RedCap is 2 times faster and 20% lower power consumption than IoT Cat 4. With the new capabilities like positioning and low latency, RedCap will be able to support billions of the IoT connections. Finally, passive IoT combines cellular communications and passive tagging. It will be used to support wide area passive IoT connections. Joint verification tests have found that passive IoT connections can stretch over 200 meters, 10 times further than RFID connections. This will open up new possibilities in terms of a commercial application and passive IoT scenarios. Together, these three 5.5G enabled IoT technologies will enable 100 billion connections in the coming years. With this new knowledge, we are ready to take the next step. Standards, technology, and the industry as a whole are ready to make the leap to 5.5G. We need to act now and work together to quickly prepare for commercial 5.5G use. There are 5 steps we will need to take to make this happen. So first, we need to further solidify our standards. Standards steer the mobile communications industry and will guide the 5.5G industry forward along a clearly defined path. Work on Release 18 is already underway. To further enhance the eMBB, we need to verify key technologies and ensure 5.5G increases network performance by 10 times. Key industry milestones must be aligned to ensure Release 18 is frozen by Q1 2024 as planned. All industry players should come together in exploring what capability 5.5G must possess to support new services and scenarios, and promote the adoption of Release 19 standards and beyond. For example, the standardization work for high precision sensing will need to completed in release 19 to achieve harmonized communication and sensing, which will in turn open up new application opportunities beyond traditional connections. We should also continue reinforcing network capability by supplementing 5.5G with satellite communication networks to better support space, air, ground communication scenarios. By constantly improving 5.5G standards and exploring new capabilities, we will be able to extend the life cycle of 5.5G and maximize its potential. So second, we will need to prepare more spectrum for 5.5G and fully utilize sub-100 GHz resources to build ultra-large bandwidth. So ultra-wide spectrum will be foundation for the 5.5G technology innovation and the capability delivery. Millimeter wave is one of the key frequency bands for the 5.5G. Operator will need to take steps to acquire over 800 megahertz of spectrum to realize millisecond level latency and become front runner in this area. 6 gigahertz, on the other hand, is also a potential ultra-wideband for 5.5G. In June this year, 3GPP officially defined 6 gigahertz as a licensed band and approved the RF specification of this band for both network and user equipment. This has provided a starting point for the future 6 gigahertz product development. To date, 3 regions have made preliminary resolutions supporting this. 6 gigahertz is also expected to be promoted as an IMT band at WRC 23. The 1.2 gigahertz spectrum of the 6 gigahertz band will need to start being distributed by 2024 to help operator achieve at least 400 megahertz of spectrum. These 2 spectrum bands can help us achieve true 10 gigabit per second experiences. We can also refine the sub-6 gigahertz spectrum to achieve the ultra-large bandwidth for the 5.5G. Operators who haven't been granted millimeter wave or 6 gigahertz spectrum resources will have to rework these existing spectrum resources to support NR. This work will include aggregating and refining this continuous spectrum on 4.9 gigahertz, 3.5 gigahertz, and sub-3 gigahertz bands on demand. So third, we need to prepare for 5.5G with material networks, devices, and chips. Our networks and devices need to be upgraded to deliver 10 gigabit per second experiences. Our network products must support ultra-large bandwidth and ELAA. Moving forward, our products will rely on ELAA technologies that support more than 1,000 antenna arrays, suitable for mid and high frequency bands. Method memo will also need to support 128 transistor capability, up from the current 32 transistor and 64 transistor. In addition, more innovation will be needed in chips and devices to make them intelligent and support multiple channel and multiple carrier aggregation. So this means moving from 2T4R to 3T8R and supporting the ability to aggregate more than 4 carriers. For example, they need to be able to aggregate 400 megahertz of 6 gigahertz spectrum or 800 megahertz of a millimeter wave spectrum. Collaboration between network devices and chips are needed at every level. We have already seen breakthroughs in the key technologies in this area. More operators, as well as equipment, device, and chip vendors, need to start verifying technological solutions and system networking so that interoperability device testing can be completed by 2024. When the standards are frozen, this is key to timely 5.5G commercialization. Last, requirement in the intelligent world will also diversify. We will need to work together to build thriving 5.5G ecosystems to meet these requirements. Take the 5.5G enabled IoT ecosystem as an example. Operators and equipment vendors will need to make a better plan for both 5.5G capability and the coverage to support IoT. In the future, a single network will be able to support hundreds of billions of connections, including connection between people and things, so that their coverage planning must consider both the capability and application scenarios of IoT devices. Capability planning must also consider both the needs of people and things. Device vendors will need to adapt the costs and modular capabilities to application scenarios. For example, RedCap will also need to constantly evolve, so it can deliver enhanced capabilities when Release 18 is frozen. However, RedCap will drive down the costs of IoT devices to under $8, which is about the same cost as IoT Cat 4 devices. Industry and app developers will also need to act now to begin incubating new apps. For passive IoT, we can start with real needs in retail and logistics, over 50% of which will need passive connections. After passive IoT devices are deployed at scale, we can then extend them to other application scenarios: electric power, healthcare, and manufacturing. As our standards, spectrum, products, and ecosystems mature, 5.5G will become a reality and allow even more applications to emerge. 5.5G will enable 10 gigabit per second experiences and harmonized communication and sensing capabilities. This means moving away from the traditional audio-visual experiences to multiple sensory experiences. This will transform the way we communicate. In addition to harmonized communication and sensing, 5.5G will also support stable, high-speed, space-air-ground integrated networks. This will make intelligent connected vehicles as a reality, turning them into a third mobile space. 5.5G's high reliability, low latency, and fast uplink speeds will also help intelligently connect information silos across industries. Integrate new productivity tools like robotics into industry processes and make manufacturing even more flexible to drive the industrial upgrade. A new generation of innovative applications is emerging. Our vision of the intelligent world is also becoming more and more clear. Right now, all industry players need to work together to explore and create these applications. The communications industry is constantly evolving. The three key developments I discussed earlier have kicked the 5.5G into high gear. Now, as we look ahead, our task is to tackle these 5 new areas: standards, spectrum, products, ecosystems, and applications. Together, let's strive to 5.5G and build a better, intelligent world.
Thank you, Mr. Wang, for your inspiring speech, which emphasized the importance of 5G to the global digital economy. We are all looking forward to the burgeoning 5.5G era and eliminating information silos between industries. Next, let's welcome His Excellency General Prawit Wongsuwan, Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister, who will deliver a keynote address on Driving Towards Thailand 4.0. Welcome.
The Ministry of Digital Economy and Society of Thailand, the Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation, the President and Chairman of the National Telecommunication Cambodia, executives from Huawei Technology, Mr. David Wang, Mr. Yang Xiaopin, ladies and gentlemen, and the media fellows. I'm very pleased to open the forum today, which is very important for the ICT industries, Global Mobile Broadband Forum 2022. And this is the 13th time already, which is the first time happening in Thailand. This is quite an important forum for both public and private sectors to exchange experience and opinions, which is useful for the industry. For the past recent years, the Thai government has given importance to develop digital infrastructure, which is the basic engine to drive Thailand towards a digital economy. So we have policies to support the development of infrastructure to drive Thailand towards Thailand 4.0, which is to promote investment in digital infrastructure and telecommunication infrastructure. And this is quite important to drive Thailand towards Thailand 4.0. This is to enable the business operators to develop industries and services in Thailand. The development of the creative digital economy would connect all the industries together and also to well equip the people to be able to use digital technology, especially the development of 5G digital infrastructure, cloud, big data, and AI, so that we can develop and open opportunities for all the industries. We also try to develop human resources to serve the industries so that our workforce is digital competent to fulfill the jobs in digital economy. I believe that the exchange in this forum today would help serve the purpose of the Thai government to support the digital economy and society. I hope that this will help in the development of the building of digital infrastructure. On behalf of the Thai government, I would like to welcome everyone who have traveled to Thailand. And without further ado, may I declare the opening of the Global Mobile Broadband Forum 2022, which is the 13th one already. Thank you.
His Excellency, please stay on stage for a moment. And thank you so much for your inspiring words. We will now have an official launch ceremony for the Thailand's Digital Development, Talent Development white paper. And I would like to ask on stage some guests helping to do that. And so first of all, I would welcome on stage His Excellency Chaiwut Tanakamanuson, who is Thailand's Minister of Digital Economy and Society. Please welcome with me on stage His Excellency. Second, I would like to ask on stage as well His Excellency Professor Dr. Ane Lautamatas, who is Thailand's Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. Please join us on stage. Okay, then I would like to ask on stage as well Mr. Simon Lin, who is President of Huawei Asia Pacific. Simon, please join us. Please take there. Then Mr. Yang Chaobing, Huawei's President of ICT Products and Solutions. Yang Chaobing, please. Last but not least, Mr. Abel Deng, CEO of Huawei Thailand. Abel, please come. Please take your seat. So, wonderful. Gentlemen, please group around the bowl. Group around your bowl. Go closer to the bowl and put your hand. Put your hand on the bowl. Everyone put the hand on the bowl, okay? Now I will count down. Okay, ready? Ready to go? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, thank you so much. Well done. Thank you for joining us, for witnessing this moment. Okay. Yeah, you can read actually something in front of it. Okay, so let's leave the stage. It's fascinating, right? Okay, gentlemen, please. The ladies will guide you through down.
"5G has become an engine for economic and social development, and Orange, a leading global mobile operator, has been on the forefront of 5G network construction." Next, Mr. Emmanuel Choutard, Orange's Senior Vice President of Operations and Network Economics, will share his insights with a speech entitled "Towards a Green, Software-Based Telco."
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and hosts. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you the Orange vision of an important journey, the journey towards a green and software-based telecommunication operator. As you know, we are facing an uncertain environment with climate concern. This is a concern of our customers. This is our focus and our responsibility to address it and to bring concrete answers. To fight global warming, we have first identified 3 facts that I would like to share with you, starting with the carbon footprint, which is actually not scaling with the traffic. There is no proportion. I will come back on this. Another major element to have in mind is a customer device, which is quite impactful, and we need to consider it overall. And of course, a third element is a positive contribution of the ICT industry to the overall carbon footprint impact for the society and for the other verticals and industries. So if we look at the ITU data, you see here the curve of data expansion, which is growing very steadily. And you see that the carbon emission footprint impact is flattish, which means that clearly there is no direct correlation. And this is explained also by the network power, the power needed for the mobile and the fixed network. If you look at the traffic, the usage, and you look at the power need, you will see for a fixed network that there is a setup which is needed, a setup of power, and then after the power needed is quite independent from the usage, while in the mobile network there is a certain factor depending on the usage. However, the setup is a predominant part. So this means basically that we can load our networks as the traffic is not so much impacting the energy consumption once they are built. But we need to take a look at the end-to-end user-centric view, including the device share. This is a French regulator statistics showing that more than 75% of the carbon emission is associated with the devices, whereas the share for network traffic is reduced to 6% for network overall, for the networks, and 16% for the data centers. So one quick win is to increase the lifetime of the devices, and this is what we are focusing on as Orange, recycling and increasing lifetime of the devices. Another view is the one from overall ITU statistics, is what our share in the greenhouse gas emissions as telecommunication operators, and so mainly the networks, 0.4% inside the digital and the ICT, whereas you can see in the other verticals, logistics, transport, and industries, there are the big share of the carbon, of the greenhouse gas emissions. And as we saw yesterday with the GSMA, the contribution that we can bring to reduce and to support the other industries is just giving a very high return of investment, if I may say so, in the networks through efficiencies that we can bring to transport, to logistics, and features that are supporting also our customers in order to reduce the travels and at the same time to have multiple services in a greener way. So CO2 emissions is what matters in the end, because this is what is impacting the climate. We have to take a user-centric approach from the customer device to the data center and to look at all the aspects. And we have a very positive impact of our industry on other sectors' emissions, which obviously doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about our own emissions. So we are taking a close look as Orange to the three scopes of emissions, from the most direct to the more indirect one, including our subcontractors. And it is comforting to see that with peers, we have made public commitments, and in the case of Orange, by 2040 to be carbon neutral, so ahead of the EU schedule. And of course, depending on the footprints, on the activities, and the starting point, we see various commitments, but a general move towards net zero carbon. Alors, by 2025, we will have already an important milestone with a reduction of carbon emission versus 2015 baseline, and we are also looking at the power consumption overall reduction. In fact, we have to reconcile different objectives which by chance are quite compatible, meaning reducing the volume of energy consumption in order to reduce in the end the invoice, but also to have a positive environmental impact, introducing renewable energies and increasing the share of renewable energies in our mix, and we target 50% as Orange by 2025. And this is also consistent with another objective, which is resiliency. You know that we have in Europe, in particular, challenge for this winter, and we want to go through the winter with obviously full business continuity and to be able to support our customers. Energy on site can be also useful, as well as flexibility, meaning the possibility to reduce the peak hour consumption and to support the national grid by implementing what we call peak shaving, using our own energy during these periods. Now, the second great trend that we see happening now, which is the other turning point, is the evolution towards a software-based telco and introducing software in the way we are doing networks. So we are coming from fully integrated operators, doing everything from infrastructure up to the service offered to the customer, to what we call a de-layered model or multi-layer model with an infrastructure layer which is addressed specifically, a network functions level, a level of service platforms, integrating also in some cases third-party platforms, and then ultimately the service offered to the end customers. This softwarization is based on 4 pillars. The disaggregation, which is the fact that we are no longer implementing black boxes into our networks as we used to do traditionally back in the past, but we are now identifying the software level, the OS, and the infrastructure level. We are also introducing virtualization, meaning mutualizing several network functions on the same cloud infrastructure, automation, AI, machine learning, in order to support both the life cycle management and the in-life management of the network, and of course introducing more and more software with APIs that are exposed, network APIs, enabling the on-demand network connectivity which our customers are expecting. We have also to take under consideration a lot of OSS evolutions, including orchestration, dynamic inventory, in order to be able to deliver the promise of zero wait, zero touch, and zero trouble, which is what we are aiming at. And in Orange, we have developed an experimental network which is encompassing all these aspects, which is called PKO, and which has been deployed near Paris, in Châtillon, and also in Brittany. And this helps us to see how it works from the core network to the access, so to see all the aspects, and to identify also the issues and to tackle them in relation with the cloud functions, the way to implement the network functions on the cloud, so the cloud infrastructure aspect and the cloud native functions. The security topic, which is an important one, the integration, and we have to look at all these aspects, demands which are new, in a different way in order to find the appropriate solutions. And we are confident with PKO and building on that we are able to do this, but indeed this is a significant evolution. So our roadmap, starting from these 2 years, let's say this year and last year, with PKO, but also with implementations in various footprints of elements of softwareization and virtualization of our core network, and moving progressively towards the access, moving also from rural to urban, and being able to expand also AI into the access network. Alors, why we are doing this softwareization is because of the top line, because we want to be able to offer the on-demand connectivity which the customers are expecting, especially the business customers, which is for Orange Business Services an important need, and for the carriers as well, the carrier business, but also for some savings that we can perform, so efficiency coming from faster deployment and reduction of workloads through automation, and as well for time to market, because evolving towards DevSecOps, we are able to deploy faster, much faster, functions into our network than what we used to do. Now, we have as well a strong stake into the 5G advanced. We believe that it's an important moment before the 6G to keep the innovation momentum. So we fully share the view which was expressed this morning of getting the capacity to address XR needs, to renew totally the IoT approach, and to, at last, I would say, get a scale on this IoT business with replacement also of legacy technologies like RFID. And at the same time, complementing the coverage with a non-terrestrial approach. So this will give us the opportunity, starting from the NSA deployment, eMBB, classical deployment, which was done in C-band and mid-bands in our European footprint in particular. This will give us the opportunity to offer new services and progressively, with Release 16, to better address the B2B needs and the B2B2C, but then also with 5G Advanced, maybe to renew with some new services the premium associated that we are looking for, and which in the current NSA status is not so easy, as we have to manage the trade-off between feeding the networks in order to benefit from the capacity, from the energy efficiency and the spectrum efficiency, and giving access to our customers who subscribe to the appropriate 5G subscriptions, including 5G. But as far as they have a 5G smartphone, in time, it's making sense to manage their traffic in the 5G network. So I will not comment further for the sake of time the content of 5G Advanced. As a summary, these are the main topics we are addressing with the softwareization. So the telco cloud, simplification, control, automation, security, and integration. And for this, we created 5 streams in Orange. So jobs and skills, because we are creating new jobs with this new approach. And we are confident that with all our partners and all the stakeholders, we'll find also new opportunities of creating value. There is indeed a business for everybody. The point is to position on these different scoping. The life cycle automation, which is for us important with integration factory, the simplicity and control over the telco cloud after a diverging phase to come to something a bit more convergent in terms of infrastructure approach, the automation of the in-life for efficiency, and the possibility to offer the on-demand connectivity we are looking for. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a very successful, enjoyable journey as well towards greener and software-based operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Choutard, for your excellent presentation. Next, let's invite Mr. Ijida Darmuyusa, CTO of XL Axiata Indonesia, who will give a speech entitled XL Axiata Networks Toward 5G Adoption.
Thank you. Good morning, all the distinguished guests and participants of this EMB forum. It's very glad and very great to be here. Let me repeat my name again. It's not IGD, it's Igede. Yeah. So this is a Balinese name. I'm from Bali, so almost the same like Bangkok. So when I was in Bangkok, I feel like home. Yeah, with a very beautiful scenery of the cities and very beautiful people. Okay, let me have a sharing with you with what happened with our network, XL Axiata Network. XL is one of subsidiary of Axiata Group, and we pretty much want to share the challenge that we have in Indonesia in general, in XL in particular. So I have to be proud that even though we have the least spectrum in the country, in the market, this year we have the best experience that's already being announced by all the major crowdsourced data, right? So our user experience is 41% increase year on year, daily payload 32%, and even latency we can manage like 7% year on year. We have 57 million subscribers with more than 39,000 physical sites, and the traffic is reaching 28 petabytes per day. So our ambition and our mission is to be the first converged operator in Indonesia with highest NPS. We always relate whatever we achieve with NPS, Net Promoter Score, because we know that without high NPS, whatever we do is not going to sustain, is not going to make a profit. Yeah. So I think on the EMBB, pretty much we're talking about 5G. But in Indonesia, 5G is still in the incubating phase. Why is that? Number one is because our handset 5G penetration is still less than 2%. Again, all the market with 270 million people in Indonesia, with more than 300 million SIM card in the country, because it's very normal. In Indonesia, normally we have two numbers, or even three numbers. My wife have three numbers with all three operators, right? So more than 300 million subscribers is less than 2%. Yeah, it's still very tough to increase this, especially during COVID, during the economics that buying power is challenging. The second one is the spectrum for 5G is still not released. The main spectrum for 5G is still not released by the government. It's pretty much challenged because all the spectrum for 5G is still used for other services. Number one is 700 megs, expected to be released by the broadcasting company end of the year. Hopefully Q1 2023 will be released. Yeah. The second one is 3,500 megahertz. It's still heavily used by the satellite services. Hopefully can be also released or coexistent by mid of next year. So again, the target to be released end of 2023. And 2.6 is still also used by broadcast and satellite services. Maybe it's going to be released in 2025. So with these two, I think the 5G is still in the incubating, but we pretty much optimistic that it's going to be fast once the spectrum is released, and because we also see the trend year by year, the handset and the subscriber that using 5G is increasing. We all know that 5G is needed as ubiquitous because all the service is going to be served. As an operator, to make money, all service need to be served by us, right? Number one, because of the two things that we can see the trend of making us more important is, number one is video. Video is now 70% of our services, 70%, and keep increasing, yeah? And amazingly, this year, YouTube has been overtaken by TikTok. So TikTok is going to be a game changer. And then when we're talking about YouTube and going about TikTok, is two different characters. So that's why we need to make sure that all this video characteristic is being understood, and we prepare our network accordingly. Yeah. IoT, yeah, IoT business is still quite small, but we understand that's going to be big. Why? Because it's not human, but also things that need to be connected. We are actually in the discussion with the Jakarta government, our capital government, to connect our, more CCTV, more camera. Normally, the camera now is only focusing to the road, main road, to monitor the traffic. But now they start talking about monitoring the river, monitoring the community, monitoring the high-rate crime locations, so on and so forth. So thousands of cameras will be deployed, and we are in the discussion to deploy. Yeah. So what is our network now? Yeah. We all understand building network is not one-day job. It's continuously need to be evolved. Yeah. Starting from radio, transport, and also core. If we're talking about radio, we almost there. Yeah, 81% our radio is capable on deploying dynamic spectrum sharing because we don't have the spectrum, the real 5G spectrum yet. Yeah. On the transmission, we start deploying IPv6, SRv6, and so also SD control since 2 years back. Yeah. So we pretty much also connecting our site to the fiber. 50% our site to the fiber, and almost 90% in total fiber and one hop to fiber. Yeah. And core, we start NFI like 4 years back, virtualization, and now we are in the middle of talking with the hyperscale for the cloud native. Yeah. The challenge is, of course, yeah, we always talking about the rental cost, high tower load, and then in transmission, we know about the latency, how we provide a high capacity with low latency. And core, different with IT and telco, is how we provide high reliability and stability core. Yeah. So on the new technology that we start adapting now is, number one, on the radio, we already deployed the FDD88R and also massive MIMO in our network starting 2021 and 22. Yeah, we know that this bringing the more capacity, but more important and also less power. Yeah, the previous speaker saying about less power. We consciously doing this. Why? Because we also understand less power related to the less cost. Yeah, whatever giving us less cost immediately becoming something that we have to do. Yeah. Meta AAU, I think this is on plan to do POC because it will bring down the power even more and with the more capacity. SDN control, like what I mentioned, we have started doing this. This may not improve power, but improving efficiency, improving our operation, yeah, from preventive to predictive. So by doing this, we also minimizing the efficiency in operation. Cloud native and slicing still in the very early stage of discussion because we all know the challenge. with all the hyperscaler because they also need to build their own data center in region. So hopefully by 2023 or 2024, we have this becoming mature in our network. MIMO strategy is for greener, faster. Yeah, we have more than 700 now on air in our network, ATR, and also more than 170 massive MIMO. Remember that we have a very least spectrum. Every time we have to add new site for capacity, it's adding OPEX. So that's why we really adopt this new technology, because it's bring us more capacity with the same existing site. Yeah, existing site, more rental, more power. So by doing this, the power consumption is less 26%. It's quite huge saving. And the FDD massive MIMO, why we have to do this, because it's even need a bigger capacity. Yeah, normally the sites that having bigger capacity or even more capacity is the site with a high value subscriber, with high value or high generated revenue. That's why we have to invest more. But if put more site, it's not going to be possible, because normally it's very dense and it's very crowded. Yeah. Now, this is the very important strategy that we keep reviewing. We keep reviewing every year, because the strategy from government, how they will auction, will impact to us on the spectrum. Yeah. This year, again, we have a very little spectrum. I have only 45 meg. I have only 45 megs last time serving 2G, 3G, and 4G. Yeah, 2.1, 1.8, and 900. In 2025, we're going to have another 733. But again, whatever spectrum that we have now, we still keep it for 4G. But maybe in 2025, we start reducing number of 2G. Yeah. And 700, we will use for 4G in the beginning, because we still have a few areas with less indoor penetration, and using 3.5 mainly for branding. Because again, based on our assessment, on 2025, 5G penetration may be reaching around 8 to 10%. Still below the business case that justifying for 5G. So it's mainly for branding. Only in 2030, based on our calculation, is 2027 actually, where the handset penetration are about 20%, that we can say 5G is becoming massive. 3.5 is going to be a game changer, and mid-band is going to be combined between LTE and NR, while low band, we still keep it for coverage or voice, right? So this is basically the strategy for now. It may change again based on the government strategy on the auction. So as a summary, all investment in 4G is for 5G. Whatever we're doing now, we always think that what will happen after 5G coming. We even now thinking about how if the 700 and 3500 coming, which one is not valid, which one is not relevant. Yeah, all bands is to 5G for sure, because we're talking about high spectrum efficiency and lower cost per GB. It's only happen if we adopt all the spectrum to the latest technology. And last but not least, is all service is for 5G. Talking about EMBB, we are assessing the FWA and also enterprise. Right? Okay, with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. I. Jita Dharmayusa. First, we'd like to show you a brief video before kicking off the 5G City panel discussion. Now, let's get started with the panel discussion. I'd like to invite the moderator of this panel, Ms. Sehan Bo Chen, GSMA's Head of Greater China, to the stage, as well as Mr. Yang Lifan, Senior Vice President of China Unicom, Beijing, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Aziz Al-Nujaydi, Chief Technology Officer Delegate of Zain KSA, Mr. Sheldon Yao, Chief Technology Officer of HKT, Mr. Hashan Al-Shamili, Technology Planning SVP of DO UAE, and Mr. Neil Shah, Partner and Research Vice President of Counterpoint Research.
Good morning. Are we all sitting very comfortably? So it's a great honor to be here in Bangkok, to be with such a great lineup of panelists to talk about a topic we're all passionate about, 5G city. Before we start our panel discussion, actually on behalf of all panelists, I want to ask the audience a question. Do you know how many people currently are living in cities in the world? Anyone? 20%, 30%, 50%? Okay, shall we give them the answer? According to World Bank, currently there are over 50% of global citizens are living in cities. And that number will grow into 70% in 2025. So the growing urbanization rate, of course, will drive the economic activities, and we all will benefit our city lives, and that's our dreams. But in the meantime, we also know there are a lot of challenges. I think we all probably experienced some crowded living spaces in cities, and we also have the first-hand experience of traffic jams, pollutions, or constrained public resources, natural resources. And today, we're here to tell you that 5G will help you to solve some of the problems, if it's not all. But we aim for giving everybody a livable and lovable city through 5G. I also want to tell everyone that GSMA has decided to dedicate one of the Global Awards to best practice for 5G city next year. And so before we start this discussion, we want to have our first panelist, that is Mr. Yang from China Unicom, Beijing. And China Unicom Beijing is also the winner of the 2021 5G Industry Partner for Global Awards last year. So Mr. Yang from China Unicom, please. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，女士们。
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for attending. It's my pleasure to share with you some details about the 5G Capital project. 5G Capital is a 5G innovative project jointly launched by China Unicom Beijing and Huawei. It aims to build out outstanding 5G networks in Beijing and put them into commercial use by adopting leading operation models and advanced technology. We have partnered with Huawei for nearly 20 years. We began to roll out large-scale 5G networks in 2019. And the whole city was covered by 5G signals from over 10,000 base stations by April 2020. at the time that 5G Capital project was launched. What's more, we've shared the network with China Telecom Beijing and helped Huawei verify its first 300 MHz system on our live networks. By November 2020, our intelligent 5G slicing and MEC operation platforms had went live and promised to enhance the digital operations across the board. Now we can parse over 200 TB data every day to monitor network running status and user experience. This ensures that we have the necessary big data analysis capabilities when deploying and optimizing scale networks. From to B and to C users, our slicing operation platform can provide end-to-end services with different SLAs from devices, RAN, transport networks, and core networks to MEC. In May 2021, we invited media outlets to test the networks and witness the release of experience-centric 5G network evaluation criteria, which included 12 indicators, and the drive test results were outstanding. December 2021 saw new 5G breakthroughs with the 5G Capital Snow Experience tool from the Smart Winter Olympics. For example, a 4K UHD studio powered by the 5G high-speed networking can transmit live signal on a train at a speed of 350 km per hour, showcasing China's speedy solution to the entire world. In 2021, Huawei's indoor massive MIMO, SUL, and Meta AAU were widely deployed in our networks, representing a new stage of development. Particularly, I'd like to show you our latest achievement of the 5G Capital project, that is the large-scale deployment of 200 MHz high-bandwidth 5G networks. The number of our 5G users and service traffic has both increased at a rapid rate in those 3 years since 5G was first commercialized. Currently, the average daily traffic is nearly 2,000 terabytes, and the proportion of 5G CA devices have reached 1/3. This is why we need to widely deploy 200 MHz networks to handle the surge in 5G traffic and demand for an enhanced user experience. By August this year, we had successfully deployed the world's largest 200 MHz high-bandwidth network with more than 3,000 base stations, covering Beijing's core urban areas. In fast-moving scenarios, the average downlink rate reached 885 Mbps, while the average uplink rate was 260 Mbps, with the CA effective rate reaching 85%. The project would not have been such an enormous success without Huawei's advanced technologies and equipment and our digital operation models. In 2022, we jointly won the GSMA Global 5G Industry Partnership Award for the project. In recognition of the enormous business and social value created. This has been an ongoing effort. 5G Capital has pursued groundbreaking innovations. We hope it will benefit our customers and industries more in the future. Thanks for listening. Now let's bring it back to the host.
It's great to hear about the 5G Capital from Beijing and the vibrant experiences in that vast city, and also the Winter Olympics, the applications. So let's move on to our panelists on stage today. Some of the questions we keep on asking ourselves is, what changes have 5G brought to your city? And what are your innovation and practices in deploying 5G? After Beijing, shall we move to the next city, Riyadh? I'd like to invite our next panelist, Mr. Mohammed, to talk about your view.
Thank you, Mrs. Sian. It is our pleasure to share with you our experience about 5G. By the way, at the moment, it's the first, the commercial, the third anniversary of our 5G. The first, our commercial of the use cases, it was the FWA with the reliable network, with the ultra speed. We are supporting our customer with the high speed. With the FWA, it's reached around 200 meg. It is a one step before pandemic. We are supporting our customer and the government with the high speed. It was supporting the e-learning and work from home and all that in the 2019 and 2020. More than broadband, we are the aiming of the enrich of the user experience. We have entered to partnership with the OSN to support the streaming to our subscriber, and to are using that to have the more data and have a free access on the internet with the reach for the all contents. Not only that, we are in additional to also that to have a partnership, Zenke SA have a partnership with the NVIDIA, the partnership to have launch the GeForce game with the more than 1,000 games, and to have access, and they can play anywhere, any device, and no need for any download. So based on that and on the above, we built up our differentiated, competitive capability to allow us to grow more in the FWA. More than that, we are more focusing also on the enterprise section. Even the enterprise section in the Zenke SA is higher than growth than the consumer. We are supporting that. We'll provide the SLA-based DIA, which is internet, dedicated internet access, which we have a lot of agreement with the banks and with government sectors, and we can support. Imagine how many ATMs we have, how many banks we have connected on that. So beyond of that also, we are study and understand the pain of the industrial. We are providing a lot of solution. One of the solutions is the private network, indoor solution, and IPVPN. All those solutions, it is helping the industrial for that. Going to future, we are pay attention that for the ecosystem collaboration to enhance our integration, even that to support in the one-stop integration and solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. It's great to understand that I think we all agree that 5G city doesn't just mean to consumers and also to enterprises, to government, to cities, every aspect of our life. Let's move to the next city, Hong Kong. We'll have Mr. Yao, Sheldon, our friend, because I live in Hong Kong, from Hong Kong T, to share the experience in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. Hong Kong is very famous in its high-rise building terrain, which is a nightmare for all the mobile operators. The reason behind is we need how to build a site in those high-rise buildings, how to provide good coverage there is always a challenge for all the radio engineers over the years. So in the 5G era, we are facing even more challenges. The reason behind is we have a lot of scatter 5G spectrum. We have 700 megahertz, we have 2100 megahertz, 3.5 gigahertz, 4.9 gigahertz, and also we got the millimeter wave spectrum. So how to put all this frequency into the existing site is always very challenging. Hong Kong is different to most of the other countries. We don't have any tower site. We can only build the site at the rooftop. So It means, okay, we need to select the site very accurately, and also need to determine which frequency band to deploy very accurately. And timing is also very important because we know we cannot deploy all the 5G spectrum in one go because it will be very costly, and also we cannot use it up within short time. So in Hong Kong T, we have 3 stages in building our 5G network. In the first stage, we provide a general coverage by the 2100 megahertz. And nowadays, we already provide 100% territory-wide coverage. And now we are in the second stage, which is to provide some medium speed spectrum, which means is 3.5 and 4.9 gigahertz. In the past 2 years, we have deployed a lot of this, we call it the dual band AAU massive MIMO equipment in this band to boost up the speed and the capacity. So down the road, right now we are heavily studying our third phase of our the 5G network deployment, which include extremely high-speed network, which means 2 areas. First area, which is in the indoor coverage. We need to provide very good indoor coverage for all the buildings, indoor areas in Hong Kong. At the same time, we are actively studying how to deploy millimeter wave in our network, which I believe will be the ultimate 5G target in the coming 2 years. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon. Yeah, Hong Kong is different. I think every city is different when you deploy 5G, and you will have different strategies. Thank you for sharing Hong Kong's strategy. How about Dubai? Let's move to Hassan from Du. And what's your experience in Dubai?
With 5G, our city has gained a new level of connectivity and speed. Our 5G has helped our consumer to have a better connections by making their speed much better, much faster, which has led to the creation of many use cases and many cutting-edge products. 5G also has helped our city to be more digitalized by accelerating digital transformations, which will help us tomorrow also to adapt more use cases. When it comes to innovations, I would like to share 2 use cases with you. The first use case is the FWA again, as 5G has helped us to reduce the churn by migrating customers from 4G to 5G. And as of today, we have almost 300,000 customers connected in the FWA. The second use case is the, what do you call this, the civilian cameras, where we have, again, thanks for 5G, as we have managed to backhaul many of the civilian cameras today by using 5Gs in areas where we have faced multiple issues in acquiring NOCs or penetrating fiber there, on some areas also due to the high costs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan. Yeah, since FWA is being used in different cities as well, right? It worked well in Dubai. So we have Mr. Shah there, who is an analyst. So I know you live in Mumbai, but also could you share your view? What changes do you see globally in the world with 5G? Please, Mr. Shah.
Great. Thank you for having me here, and great to hear from fellow operators what is changing, what is working in their city. If you look at the transition of different generations of cellular, right from 1G, 2G, 3G to 4G, it's all been about personal transformation. It's more about the phones and how we have been connected, how we are using technology, and how it has digitally transformed as humans, right? But for 5G, it's going to be more than that. It's going to be more about society transformation, more about enterprise transformation. And that is what we are trying to see and witness. And most of the operators are working towards. So every city has different challenges, right? So when you talk about smart cities, it's more about people and how to solve their problems, right? How to improve their lives, how to help them make more efficient, and how to basically make them more productive as well as making them more happy. So when you look at different cities and different use cases, I would say what 5G brings to the table, as I said, is more about society transformation, the different technology benefits which it brings, right? Starting with, if you look at the common problems we see and we hear from different operators, is first of all is safety and security of people, right? That's why we have all the surveillance cameras, which are always connected. But as you see, most of the cities are increasing the number of cameras or increasing the number of sensors for road safety or for people safety in different parks or smart lighting. So the areas are well lit. All these different infrastructure, right, needs great connectivity to come back and give the data, the feedback, and can be controlled remotely, right? So most of these use cases which we see are around initially are safety and security. Second is providing the connectivity with respect to digital divide. So most of the economies, even in developed countries like US, you will see there is a digital divide. Not many households have more than 50 Mbps connectivity. And with pandemic, we have seen how important it is. So FWA, which my fellow operators are saying, is one of the other top use cases, which is bridging the digital divide, making people smarter and more connected. So what I envision is more of not only safety, security, having basic FWA connectivity, but also beyond that, consuming richer content, make it more interactive and safer for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. I think everybody shared a little bit experience with 5G in different cities. From yesterday till today, we actually talk about 5G is being deployed at a faster speed than the previous Gs. However, it's still early stage, so there are a lot of things we need to do. In yesterday's keynote, I remember our CMO, Lara, mentioned about the three key factors which are important to the 5G success, which is investment in innovation and partnership. That also apply to 5G cities' success. So I think there are still a lot of things to do, and cities are different for us to live, for us to love, and it should be inclusive and should be for everybody to enjoy a better life there. So I think we use sometimes to talk about our dreams, our dream city, because that may lead us to understand how we can make the most of 5G technology to make our city for everyone to live in. So the second question is about dream cities. I think audience can also join to think about, in the 5G context, what is your dream city would look like? What has not yet being realized, and do you have any plans to achieve that dream city in the next few years? Shall we start from the very end? Our analyst, Mr. Shah, do you have any dreams about cities, and what do you think?
Yeah, I dream a lot. I dream a lot, and yes, a dream. So if you look at, it starts from, as I said, it's more about people, right? So when you wake up, I would like to wake up into a city which is very safe, as I said, secure. And once I wake up, I need to be hyper-connected for my daily routine. I need to be getting the messages which should be more predictive. So I know if I have to leave for office, I need to leave at this time. It should be hyper-connected, more intelligent. And then once I reach there, it should be real time in terms of transportation updates. Once I reach the office, my office should be smart with AR, VR type technologies, which will help me make more productive. If I am an engineer on a shop floor or if I'm in an office where I can have virtual meetings with my colleagues across the different continents, right? And once I come back, I can go to and enjoy my life, go to a stadium which is hyper-connected again, and also offering me best seat in the stadium, right? And then come back into a restaurant which I can go there and walk into the restaurant and see, okay, this is more carbon neutral, or it is less noisy, the food is good, it's hygiene. So if I just look at the dish, I know this is organic and all the ingredients are safe as well as healthier, right? So all that particular entire lifestyle basically should be more hyper-connected, intelligent, and should make it easier for everyone to traverse and travel into the entire lifestyle from day to night.
Yeah, we all dream of a livable and lovable city and bring us a lot of convenience. I think that also give our operators friends a lot of pressure and also a way of serving the cities, the citizens and the enterprises in the city and all the business there. So everyone should benefit from living there and working there. Shall I go to Hassan? What do you think, your dream city, and anything you feel like it's really hard to realize?
In United Arab Emirates, we always dream for the best, and we always aim for the best. So when it comes to technology, yes, we have our dreams also, which we believe it's even close to us. For example, we are dreaming to have 5G SA, and we believe we are not far from that dream, where we will be able to provide a dedicated slice for different industrials, different enterprise, manufacturer, educations, healthcare, and so on. So this is one of our dreams. The second dream is to continue our 5G project by extending our 5G coverage for the entire country. So our entire population can get benefit from the 5G network and benefits.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. You're leading DO's technology planning, so you actually give yourself a lot of assignments.
Yep.
Yeah. So coming to Hong Kong, Mr. Yao, what do you think? Dream city? You mentioned about Hong Kong's specific situation, and in anything fact, you would like to say here?
Hello. In fact, I have a lot, always dreaming, a lot of dreams actually myself. Okay, a dream city, okay, that is a place that I can spend my time there. Okay, a lot of research tell us, okay, when the metaverse come, we will spend more and more time in different universe. Maybe about 80% of time will be spent there, we'll work there, pay there, and have fun there. So we need always connect. This is what we need. So how to achieve this target in the coming maybe 5 years? So a lot of things we need to change in order to make the city become favorable dreams for us. So first of all, I think how to build the site more easily is something very important, because we know a 5G city, we need a lot of connecting points. So how to get this possible to happen? There is a need between the operator and the governments. We need to work together to build this city. And regarding the 5G technology, nowadays, okay, even we have deployed a lot of 5G frequency technology there. So I still feel that the technology nowadays is just an enhancement of LTE only. Okay, there's not much a very big breakthrough, okay, against LTE. So I truly believe in the next stage of 5G development, so we need, okay, higher speed, and also in terms of the low latency performance. Okay, we have always heard that about the URLLC, And I always talk to my colleague, okay, we have achieved low latency, but we never achieved the ultra reliable, the UR part. And this is very, very demanding in the coming years in order to provide a lot of mission critical services. And also for the 5G, there's another promise to us, which is the MMTC. A lot of machine and people can be connected, but we all know that, okay, nowadays is very limited in all the connectivity, and how to connect more wearable to the network, and how to make more compatibility to different wireless technology will be my dream, okay, for the city. And other dreams, okay, is also very important. Another big dreams for good 5G city, which is the network stability. City like Hong Kong, actually, I can say that it's not a new city. Okay, so it's almost have, for the cities already have the design, a lot of design is more than 50 years already. And in this kind of a city, we have a lot of like infrastructure. The power infrastructure is quite old already. And we all know that we're talking about the digitalization, we're talking about the electric car. That means all the energy source will come to the power infrastructure. Can the power infrastructure good enough to support our future requirement for our 5G deployment? And how to maintain a sustainable and good resilience in the 5G operation will be another big challenge to us, and we need to get through. And of course, okay, we need to have all these dreams come true. Okay, we need to deploy a lot of new spectrum, like I just mentioned, the millimeter wave, or even go higher, the 38 gigahertz, 45 gigahertz will all come into the network in the nearest future. So how to ensure this kind of deployment is sustainable? I mean, it's in the energy efficiency. So the ESG concern is also very important. When we are building this dream city, we need to ensure we are still working towards a very green and very efficient network. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yao. Yeah, you covered a lot of things we really need to do in the city. I think every city has different situation, and also for our operators working there, they also have different strategies. At the moment, it's still early stage for 5G, and especially for 5G city. So it's good time for everybody to think about how we're going to plan our 5G city, how we, as Mr. Yao and other panelists mentioned about the dreams and its early stage for 5G, every aspect and the amazing feature to be used in every single applications we probably should develop in the future. And also, more importantly, we also touched about we need to work with stakeholders. So cities, it's not just for operator or vendors, for our industry. It's also for the municipalities, for the government policymakers, and for everybody to work together to make our dreams come true. Let's come to Mr. Mohammed. After you heard all this, and what about you? Have you changed anything you're thinking about your dream city and how Zen will do in Riyadh? Yeah.
One of the vision of the Saudi Arabia 2030 is to keep Riyadh within the top 10 of the cities globally in terms of the economic.
That's great.
Zain KSA, it's not only the operator, they launch the 5G first, also they launch the SA first. Also we are seeking a lot of the use cases that have in the future, such as the machine learning, such as the massive IoT, and a lot of use cases and that have. From our side, as a smart cities and Zen KSA, we are enable the 5G network. We will continue invest in the 5G. We will continue invest in the capacity and the coverage, and we will go in the 5G as we believe it is the future of the coming. So in the Zen, we are our miles or 3 miles we have, which is the investment, which is the innovation, which is the partnership. With the 3 of those, we can lead the 5G and we have the smart citizen.
I can't agree with you more. So we talked about the changes we've made in various cities we represent. And also we talked about the dream cities, but we all realized that we can't single-handedly working and to make the dream 5G city dream come true. And after all this discussion, we still have some time here. I don't know if audience have any questions to ask the panelists. Anyone? Just 5 seconds, you have this opportunity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they won't ask questions to us. So great, right? So my last question, can I ask Mr. Shah, because you're analyst. After our discussion, what do you think? Anything you will take back for the audience or for yourself?
I think operators are on the right track to make cities smarter, but also the basic thing which I get from here is operators are not just thinking about 5G as a connectivity fabric, but also are thinking about resource efficiency with respect to energy utilities, because that is critical from infrastructure point of view. I think that is a great key message which I can take away for the first one. The second one is also with respect to the investment which operators are making. We should think more about this as a marathon rather than a sprint. It's going to take time to reach our dream city goal. And every city, as you said, has different set of problems. So operators need to work with public sector as well as private sector to prioritize the different levels of issues which different cities have, and try to tackle accordingly, and that would make lives even better. And I think that is what these operators are also prioritizing. So it's great to hear that. Thank you.
Okay. I also will ask my panelists, anyone would add something? Mr. Mohammed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just I will want to put figure on the 5G what we have. The 5G now example in the Saudi Arabia, we have 180,000 terabyte monthly. So this is give you the indication that traffic is high. They give you indication that about the contributed in the 5G is in the kingdom wise is 40%. It is give you in the Riyadh city is more than 60%. So it is give you the indication that the 5G is the future and we need to more continue to invest in the 5G.
Exactly. Mr. Hassan? Yeah. Thank you.
I agree with my colleague here regarding the modernizing the network and at the same time get rid of the legacy equipment. As he mentioned that upgrading the network is a very important factor with the 5G journeys, especially when we go with the single RAN, and especially in the future when we talk about FDD, the 5G FDD, as we will be dependent on the other technologies like 700 and other spectrum like 700, 800 in order to penetrate our 5G more and more for the in-building sites.
Thank you. It's always nice to talk face to face, and then we'll have more thinking behind this. Mr. Yao, anything to add?
Yeah, I think 5G is there, and more and more 5G related application will be going into our life. Okay, so how to build the 5G network quicker all over the world is very important, because it's very happy. Okay, I've never been getting out of Hong Kong for 3 years already due to pandemic. So this is my first time have a travel to Thailand, okay, this time. So nowadays, okay, we have a lot of development in like the metaverse already start, and which require a lot of network resources to achieve this, the high level requirement. So later on, when I'm travel away from my home country, I also expect over the world can provide me the same experience. So how to achieve this is something why we need to sit together today here, which is to build our 5G network together.
Yeah, GSMA got work to do. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the panelists. And our industry does take a lot of hard work to make 5G a reality. And also, we would call all people work with us, all the stakeholders living in city, working in city, and work together to make our 5G cities dream come true. 5G will definitely enable a greener, more secure, and much smarter city for us to, for our dreams. And from startups to industry giants, GSM is working with many to advance its ecosystem and scale. I'd call for innovations to make 5G city a global success. So without further ado, let me thank our great panelists today for their sharings. And I think the technology innovation will carry on. We call for more applications in 5G and service innovations, network innovation, and everything we can work on to light up our 5G city success. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time and your sharing today. Let's work together to make a better 5G city for us all. Thank you.
Let's invite Mr. Yang Chaobin, Huawei's President of ICT Products and Solutions, President of Wireless Solution, to share his thoughts on innovative wireless products and solutions.
Good morning, old friends and new friends. Welcome to the 13th Mobile Broadband Forum. We started the Mobile Broadband Forum in year 2010. So in the past 10 years, we jointly witnessed the success of 4G. And now we jointly stride to the best time of the mobile industry, 5G. So in the past 3 years, more than 3 million 5G base stations has been deployed globally. We expect that by end of this year, 5G subscribers will be more than 1 billion. And if we look at the new shipment of the smartphone, this year, more than 60% of the new shipment of the smartphone has already support 5G. Then, if we look at the mobile broadband market, if we compare with that of 4G and 5G, anyway, I think 5G has greatly changed the people's behavior. So, for example, for the HD video, the portion will be increased from 40% to 60%. Then, for the short video, In 4G area, normally people spend 0.7 hours per day on the short video. But in 5G, it has been increased by 2.5 times to 1.8 hours per day. Today, the short video has already contributed more than 30% of the traffic in the mobile network. Then the way people watch the video has already been changed. In 5G area, people normally they will dragging and the double speed way to play the videos. The portion have been increased by 8 times. 5G also play an important role in the business market. Until now, there are more than 20,000 cases has been commercially launched. It is not only bring extra revenue for the operator, but also it can bring the social benefit for the whole society. For example, with the 5G in the coal mining industry, the people underground can be reduced by 60%. And in the hub, with the introduction of the 5G, with the help of the 5G, the loading and unloading, the container, the efficiency can be improved by 75%. If we look at the operator, the first wave of the operator deployed the 5G because of the high speed has been introduced by the 5G. It gives operators opportunities to share the innovative technologies with their customer. So it is possible for operators to design more flexible data package and to define diversified telephone plan based upon the speed of the downlink, uplink, and the latency. So in the past 3 years, for top 20 operators who deployed 5G quickly, their app has been increased by 10%. But as a global app has only increased by 1%. And for the 5G operators, their revenue year by year has been increased by 6%. But the global average is just 2%. So which means that 5G can bring new business opportunities for the operator. When 5G started to be deployed, operators normally deployed 5G on the new frequency band, such as 3.5 gigahertz, 700 megahertz, or 2.6 gigahertz. But with the time going, 5G has not only deployed in the new frequency band, all of the legacy frequency band has been started to refine to 5G. So in the future, the targeted network for the operator, it will be the combination of to deploy 5G on the new frequency band and the refinement from the legacy frequency band. So 5G has been in the faster lane. But anyway, I think a different frequency band will have different challenges. For example, for the 3.5 gigahertz and the 2.6 gigahertz, the problem for this two frequency band is still two challenges. The first one is still the coverage, because the higher frequency band is quite difficult to reach the better coverage as the middle frequency band and the lower frequency band. Then the second one is still the energy efficiency. And for the FDD frequency band, there also has its own challenges. Coverage normally don't have any problem. But the problem is that operators have so many fragmented frequency band. And normally the bandwidth is quite narrow. So how to improve the spectral efficiency? It is another one we must take into account. Millimeter wave, 3 challenges: penetration to the wall, non-line outside. Yeah, how can it work? And how to make a millimeter wave work in the mobile environment. So different frequency band will have different challenges. So in this way, even though in the future we will deploy 5G in different kind of frequency band, but all of the frequency band must work in one 5G. They must compensate with each other to provide the seamless user experience to the end subscriber. So how to extend the coverage and how to reduce the energy consumption of the C-band equipment. So we believe that introduce the extreme large antenna array. This is the way. That's why we introduced the product called Meta AU, which is quite a reasonable way from the physical law. One operator started to deploy mobile network on 900 megahertz. You will use the antenna from 1 meters, 1.5 meters, 2 meters, and 2.8 meters. Yeah, the bigger of the antenna, you can get the far of the coverage and the low power consumption. But anyway, I think the challenge for the active antenna unit is that it is not easy to implement such kind of technologies in the active antenna unit in such kind of product. So this year, Huawei has already commercially launched the extreme large product. We call it the Meta AU. And this year, we have already shipped more than 100,000 units globally. So in the uplink, it can extend the coverage by 3 dB, and the performance can be improved by 30%. And in the downlink, it can also extend the coverage by 3 dB, then 30% of the experience can be improved. Then it can also save the power consumption by 30%. So in Europe, one of our customers, Orange, they have done carefully test with Meta AU. They make a comparison between the traditional AU and the Meta AU. They deployed the two equipment in the same tower to like test. So here is the conclusion. They have the precondition. The downlink speed should maintain the same. If the downlink speed is the same, Meta AU can help operator to save 33% of the energy. And the uplink speed can be improved by 40%. So in this way, in one site, 3,100 kilowatt hour per year can be saved. Ultraband, it's always a dream for all of the vendors. In year 2018, Huawei first released the massive MIMO product, which can support 200 megahertz. In year 2020, we released the product that can support 400 megahertz. Then this year, lots of the operators come to me. Now I think in lots of the countries, band 42 and band 43 has already been auctioned. But in the next following years, the frequency band from 3,800 to 4,200 will be available in the market. Whether Huawei it is possible to support, have one product to support from 3,300 to 4,200. So the answer is yes. We will have the massive MIMO product to support the band readers up to 800 megahertz. So which is the unique in the world. Anyway, I think for operate, how to find the space to install the antenna in the tower is always a challenge. It is not only related with the rent cost, but also it is related whether there is enough space in the tower. So when we introduced the Meta AU, whether it is possible to integrate all of the legacy antenna integrated together with the Meta AU. So the answer is yes. We can integrate the Meta AU together with legacy, all of the legacy frequency band antennas. So with such a kind of solution, which means that in one sect, operator only need one antenna in the site. So for FDD frequency band, the challenge is totally different from that of the TDD. Yeah, first one, most of the operators have several fragmented FDD frequency band. Yeah. So how to simplify the deployment? The second one, how to improve the spectrum efficiency for such a kind of narrow band spectrum. If we can improve the spectrum efficiency, which can help operator to improve the return of the investment. Then the third one, because for most of the operators have the plan to phase out the 2G and 3G. But anyway, in the next 3 to 5 years, I do believe that in some of the countries, 2G, 3G will still exist in the network. It will still exist in the network. It should work together with 4G and 5G. Yeah. So when we adopt some new technologies, we also need to guarantee the performance of 2G and 3G. So the ultra broadband, which is a way to solve such kind of problems. So we will release the new product called ultra broadband radio remote unit, so which can support 3 frequency band. For the frequency band below 1 gigahertz, use one box. For the frequency band between 1 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz, we can also use another box. So in this way, the power between different frequency bands can be shared. Then the total power consumption can be reduced by 30%. Then in this way, 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, different technologies can also share the total output power. And it can be further reduce the energy consumption. So this year, we will further to improve the output power of the equipment up to 4 times 160 watt, because we still need to take into account the requirement from 2G and 3G, especially I think for 2G. If you wanted to maintain the legacy coverage, it will need still quite high output power. Then another challenge for such a kind of ultra wideband equipment is that because when we put 700, 800, and 900 in one box, lots of the passive intermodulation will be generated. So it will be quite negative to the network performance. So today, in Huawei's radio remote unit, we have the PIM cancellation have been such kind of function have been embedded in the radio remote unit. We don't need another dedicated baseband unit or another dedicated card in the digital unit. ATTR, in some of the countries, operators don't have plenty of the spectrum. So how to use the legacy spectrum to improve the user experience and the network performance, so which is another challenge. So we will introduce the 888R radio remote unit. In this way, if we compare with that of 44R, the 4G capacity can be improved by 1.5%. And in 5G, you can get more benefit. Because when we define the 5G standard, it is optimized design for multiple antenna. So when you deploy the 888R, the gain in the 5G will be much higher than that of 4G. So if we compare with that of 4G, in 5G you can get 3 times capacity gain, and another 3 dB coverage gain. Then if it works together with our Hertz antenna, yeah, Hertz antenna is totally introduce the new technologies in the antenna product. Yeah, normally I think innovation in the antenna is quite slow. In the past 30 years, there are quite a few innovations. But for this Hertz antenna, we use stiff technologies, which is a revolutionary technology. Only with the antenna, it can help operator to reduce the energy consumption by 15%. FDD massive MIMO. 20 years ago, when operators started to deploy 3G on 2100, at that time, all of the operators have a dream, whether the coverage of 2100 can reach the coverage of GSM 900. But in the past 20 years, there is no such kind of solution. But with FDD massive MIMO, it is possible to have the coverage of 1800 and 2100 reach the same range as 800 and 900. Then another, besides the coverage improvement, if we look at the capacity, with the FDD massive MIMO, the LT capacity can be improved by 3 times. And for 5G, yeah, based upon our field test, it can be improved by 4 times, 6 times. So today, FDD massive MIMO have been commercially deployed in more than 70 countries. So in the next step, we will also integrate the FDD massive MIMO product together with the passive antenna. We call it FDD blade AAU. So in this way, it can also help operator to save the space of the antenna. In one sector, you only need one antenna. Yeah. So we never forget the indoor and we never forget the rural areas. Anyway, I think if you look at the traffic of the mobile network, more than 70% of the traffic are generated in the indoor environment. So we will release the new product called LampSight 5.0. If we compare with that of the LampSight 3.0, the dimension will be reduced by 25%, and the power consumption can be reduced by 40%. Why we suggest that in the 5G area, we should focus on the digital indoor solution. Normally, I think in 2G, 3G, and 4G, if the operator deploy the distributed antenna system, normally the end subscriber will have a better experience in the indoor environment than the outdoor. But for 5G, even though operator deploy the distributed antenna system in the indoor environment, the experience in the indoor will be worse than the outdoor. Because in 5G, all our smartphone will support 4 receivers. But for the distributed antenna system, normally it can only support 1 transmitter or 2 transmitters at the most. But for the outdoor equipment, normally it can support 4 transmitters and 8 transmitters and a massive MIMO. So that's why I strongly suggest that in 5G area, the distributed the digital indoor system should put in the higher priority. So that's why we continue to invest in the indoor system. So with the LampSight 5.0, the power consumption can be greatly reduced. Then furthermore, we do believe that millimeter wave will be introduced in the indoor quickly. So we will release LampSight 5.0. It can support the FDD frequency band such as 1.8 and the C band such as 3.5 and the millimeter wave. all of the FDD frequency band, TDD frequency band, and the millimeter wave in one box. And for such a kind of one box, the peak speed of this box can reach to 10 gigabps. So we believe that the first 5.5G use case can be happening in the lamp site in such a kind of small box. Normally in the rural areas, it's costly for operator to do the maintenance. It's quite difficult for operator to provide the power supply to the rural areas. So in the rural areas, we will have the solution. We call it 1 + 1 = 3, which means that in the rural areas, you only need, in the site, you only need one antenna and one radio unit, which can support 3-sect base station. So which is a unique technology by combining with Huawei's antenna and Huawei's radio remote unit. If you have a 44 RU, which can support 3-sect 2T2R base station. And the baseband unit can be allocated 20 kilometers away from the site. Use Huawei's microwave over Ethernet technologies. So in this way, the remote site has been greatly simplified. You can just use solar energy to do the power to supply the power to the base station. Then all of the maintenance can be done remotely. Millimeter wave, I think it is a hot topic in year 2016 and 2017. So until now, more than 140 operators has already got the spectrum of our millimeter wave. But in the past 5 years, the commercial deployment of millimeter wave haven't reached our expectation. Here is a report from the Open Signal. Yeah, barely anyone is using millimeter wave 5G. According to the report, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile users connected to a millimeter wave 5G network less than 1% of the time. Why such a kind of things will be happened? I think the network is not good enough because the coverage is quite limited. Non-line outside cannot be supported, and the equipment cannot fulfill the penetration requirement. So with such a kind of challenges, that's why United States deployed lots of the millimeter wave, but it's useless. So here I give you some example. In the past 5 years, Huawei continued to invest on the millimeter wave product. So here is a case we have done in China, in Chengdu. So in this case, we deployed the millimeter wave in macro site. So the height of the antenna is 43 meters, just like a traditional base station. And the inter-site distance is 400 meters. So when you drive the car on the street with the smartphone, you still can enjoy 1.5 gigabps average user experience. And if we deployed the macro base station along the millimeter wave base station, so it is still possible to provide the indoor user experience. So for the shops and for the along the street with the macro base station, it still can reach quite high speed, up to 800 megabps. Then another use case is indoor. Huawei together with HKT, we jointly deployed the millimeter wave indoor system in HKT's office. So in the indoor environment, you will not have any problem. the peak speed can reach to 2.8 gigabps. And you can enjoy 1.5 gigabps anywhere. Because in the indoor environment, though it is a non-line outside, but there are lots of the reflections. So if we can carefully design the product and carefully design the algorithm, we can solve such kind of problems. So for the millimeter wave, we will commercial launch our product. So based upon Huawei's extreme large antenna array and I-beam technologies, so it is possible for millimeter wave to provide huge capacity in the hot spot in the outdoor. And in the indoor environment, we will integrate the millimeter wave into our lamp-side solution. So this lamp-side solution can support TDD, FDD, and millimeter wave. So the downlink speed can reach up to 10 gigabps. So these two cases will be the typical use case in the future for millimeter wave. So for 5G is the most complicated network than the previous generation of the mobile technologies. So it will be the combination of the TDD frequency band, FDD frequency band, and the millimeter wave. So in order to guarantee the user experience and to simplify the operation and maintenance for the operator, so we must introduce intelligence in different layers of the network. So we will introduce intelligence in the site level and in the network level and also in the cloud level. So when we introduce such a kind of intelligence, so it can greatly reduce the maintenance and operation cost for the operator. And it also gives the operators the opportunities to open the network capabilities to the other industry to generate the new business models. Finally, let's keep innovation on 5G and jointly realize the big dream of the 5G and stride toward the future intelligent world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young, for your wonderful presentation on innovative technologies. This brings us to the end of the keynote speeches at the 13th Global Mobile Broadband Forum. Thank you for joining us over these past 2 days and contributing to the discussion. We hope that 5G will continue to lead the mobile industry into an era of sustainable and unrelenting development and lay the foundation for a flourishing digital economy. We look forward to seeing you at next year's MBBF. Feel free to join us on stage to capture this memorable moment.